All right, so we are sitting here in the front of a sumptuous altar orchestrated by Kathy Bauer and contributed to by all of the members of the class with our light-hearted feathers. Incredibly lush altar space here in green. Okay, so let's start with centering. Ask you to close your eyes, and as you inhale, bring the energy from the base of your spine up your back to the top of your head, and as you exhale, let the energy cascade down the front of your body as a waterfall, returning to the pool at the base of your spine, drawing up the back on the inhale, letting flow down on the exhale, cleansing and healing as it unites all of your energy centers. Then as you inhale, bring your energy up into the heart area and focus on the fourth chakra. Suggest your ability to give and receive love, to find balance and peace, to take care of yourself and others will increase through our work during this month. And let yourself take a deep and clearing breath and come on back easily. Okay, a couple of deep and clearing breaths. And again, I'm going to give an outline of the fourth chakra materials. We have awakened fires of our will, and we're ready to enter the sacred and tender realm of the heart. It's the center of the chakra system. We talked about that last Monday night, balancing the lower and the higher chakras, the heart of our being. It's a chamber from which we give and receive love. What is our heart's purpose in our journey through the chakras, and how can we align ourselves with this purpose? These are essential questions we ask of the heart. It's not a physical organ, but it's a realm of connection, union with others. Through the fourth chakra, we welcome closer unity. The ultimate goal of yoga is unity. Yoga means unity, yeah. And so love is the essence of life, the ultimate healer, and the most potent teacher. As children, it was the assurance of our survival. We experienced love. For the adult, it brings intimacy, allows acceptance, and invites expansiveness. The giving of love that transcends ego limitations and blossoms into the 12-petaled lotus of the heart. In the Sanskrit, the name anahata means unstruck, unhurt. So the goal of working with heart is to refrain from causing unnecessary harm, have empathy. It occurs naturally when we discover the divine nature of ourself and of all life. There is no impulse to harm anyone or anything when I have what I need, when I recognize the fullness of love in and of itself. The heart's task is to find the balance, balancing the mind and the body, the self and the other, the light and the shadow, the masculine and the feminine, the inner and the outer realms. The result of this balance is peace. And peace isn't a static state. It means nothing's happening. Peace is a dance in which no one's stepping on the other person's foot. It's a dynamic dance, but it's a dance done in harmony. The element air is the element of the fourth chakra. It's ruled by the breath. And working with breath invites the heart to receive the life-giving properties of prana. So, what's the difference between prana and air?
It's a subtle energy. Prana is a subtle energy.
Yes.
And the breath tends to move the energy through the body, which is the whole point of the study of pranayama, that branch of yoga, which, in case someone's interested, she mentioned this book by Iyengar on the light on pranayama in her book, and so if somebody wanted to look at it in break, it's quite an intense book on the art of yoga, art of breathing.
Oh, yes, he was a true master. Is he still alive? That's amazing. Yeah. So, yeah, life force, life energy. And air, the element of air, helps to move that life force and that life energy. That's what animates our collection of molecules. It gives them unity, makes them life, gives them purpose.
Would you say that prana is the equivalent of chi?
Yeah, in terms of the systems in which they're used, yes.
Just different.
Chi.
Yeah.
To open the chakra is to dissolve the illusion of separateness. I always think of the mind is a binary computer. It's always seeing one side or the other and making divisions. The great scalpel. The heart is that organ that's big enough to see both sides of an issue, to be inclusive. So let's suggest this month that we begin a passionate love affair with Divine Spirit in all of its manifestations. Who's up for that? Okay. So how do we deepen our connection with the fourth chakra? Let's start with the body. Cultivating an attitude of love and reverence toward our body and all of life. The idea that, we love everything, but my body is, it's creaky, it's old, it's, misshapen, Well, how can we truly have compassion for life when we're hammering on ourselves? And why is that not part of life and a truly miraculous manifestation? So it requires an unconditional acceptance of your body in whatever shape it happens to be in. We give care to our body by giving it, very simple things. Good food, so the right diet, exercise, rest, and pleasure. So it's not a matter of waiting for our body to be in perfect order in order to earn your love. How can you listen more deeply to your body? What can you do for your body that expresses your appreciation? The fourth chakra is located in the center of the chest. It rules over the lungs, the heart, the pericardium, the upper back and the ribs, the inner arms and hands. It relates to the respiratory system and the breath. So common ailments related to the fourth chakra dysfunction are with frequent bronchitis or lung infection, hypertension, heart disease, circulatory problems, difficulty breathing, aching in the chest or upper back, weak immune system. The thymus gland is associated with the fourth chakra, sits behind the sternum and helps fight disease.
There's a yogic thing that is done often, which is just tapping that spot to awaken the thymus like this.
Cool.
It's energizing. So it's not where your breastbone is, but like right between here and your throat. So between your throat and where you think your heart is, right about there. You tap it, and it'll tend to energize you.
So that's what Tarzan was doing. Cool. I like that. So relating is an important theme here in dealing with the fourth chakra, the core of relationship. So the central focus in our work this month is relating to others and opening to love. To have a relationship means to, sometimes translated means to enter into a program of agreements. And so, we've got a list of what you're going to do and what I'm going to do, and sometimes we forget how it is just to simply to be with each other, just to simply relate. To relate is to feel connection and empathy for another being, being fully present with someone. Empathy is to spontaneously and naturally feel a deep compassion for another's reality. Compassion dissolves judgment. Giving from a centered place like this is a pleasure in and of itself. If the lower chakras are stable and we're not relating from a heart through neediness or deficiency, then there's a much greater chance of having that reciprocated. If I'm grounded in my lower chakras and I'm not just giving out of a neurotic need to give in order that my lower chakras will be replenished or filled by someone else, then my giving doesn't deplete me. I give from a place of abundance rather than a place of neediness. psychological issues around the fourth chakra, the authentic self. Our chakra deals with our social identity. The mundane aspect of that social identity is our personality, our persona. And the personality develops in ways that we think will win love or get approval from others. So our personality is always out to get something, because by definition it feels lacking. Am I charming, or am I depressed, or what face am I putting out towards the world? Our authentic self contains vulnerable feelings, insecurities, angers, and fears. Also, our gifts, our vitality, our innocence. I'm suggesting that our goal this month is to be aware of both our light and our shadow. If I get overly identified with this social personality, I move away from my ability to feel empathy for myself and others. I might strive for perfection at the cost of being who I really am. I want to look good. How's my hair? If I'm, on the other hand, unaware of my persona, I may not realize how my behavior impacts on others. Hey, I just, matter of fact, truthful kind of guy. And if all you slobs don't pick up your shit, I'm going to tell you about it. So get with it. So
just saying it like it is.
That's it. Thank you. That's exactly, that's the phrase right there. So I'm just telling it like it is. No big deal. And I'm totally unaware, like, bonk, bonk, the bull in the china shop.
How can a person not be aware of that?
We've all met people that aren't?
Yes, I want to know how they are not aware of what they're doing.
A shield.
Oh.
It's what I needed to do because I felt criticized, inadequate, or whatever. And so I just felt, hey, I don't give a shit anymore.
Okay.
Take it or leave it, here I am. What's your problem?
Okay. Interesting.
Our acting just real tough, but it's the old Archie Bunker type of thing, It's like, once you watch the show long enough, you go, oh, there's a heart in there, It's sensitive, but it's like this protected with this persona.
And self-fulfilling prophecy in a way, too. I'll have a reason for people to reject me.
Very good point, yeah. This is the way the world is, and it's sure enough, if people don't act that way, because I'm giving them the old stiff arm.
Because I'm not accepting of myself.
Yes, it's too scary for me to go into my vulnerability, because my fear is I'm just going to be walked on with the army boots.
I mean, and I can relate to all of that. And why do we keep falling back into those old habits? So we know it's, at least I know it's wrong, but yet I still fall back. I guess I take refuge in that.
Exactly. It's a fear deal. The funny thing, though, is that it takes, I think we may move faster having compassion for our fear than judgment. It's like, what a doofus. Look what I did again. And there I am beating myself up. And pretty soon I get resentful of getting beat up and I do it again.
That was my point earlier, is I just, I fall back doing those old habits, even though I know from going through countless classes and sessions with Jim Morningstar, the Kathy Golick, and it's just frustrating for me to know and yet still go back into that.
We were talking about this actually yesterday in the breathwork practicum and this morning in the PEP class. These things are hardwired to our brainstem. These are not higher order. One day we thought, let's see, now logically the best way to be in life is probably very defended with thick skin and a hostile attitude. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. That'll be the best. This is not something that is working on in the neocortex. This is a survival mechanism hooked to the brainstem. So things that are hooked to the brainstem, they don't change like it. The brainstem deals with things like breathing, digestion, blood flow, basic survival. You're hit by a bus, you keep breathing. We don't sit here and think, let's see, do you think I should take the next breath? Yeah, I think I will. How about the next one?
I think so.
Do you?
Yeah, I really.
Okay. And so survival stuff is wired into the brainstem. You don't just, well, like stopping smoking or something like that. You know, it got wired into a pleasure center, a deep, and you don't just, I never thought of it. It's not logical to do that.
Quitting smoking was a whole lot easier than changing who I am and what I do and where I am in life. It's like, that was like a piece of cake.
Right.
This work is hard.
Yeah, well, that's a thought. That is a challenge. I absolutely admit it. And sometimes there's some surprisingly easy things that are helpful. It's the attitude with which I go about changing myself which may make the difference rather than having a brand new technique.
Speak to that just a little bit too, because I am familiar with the conversation of why am I going back to this whatever. But what I realized is that it's not going back, but it's like another layer coming off. So it's like my next stage of evolving or whatever. It's like an onion, you know, peeling little like tiny layers off. And so when I feel that I'm going back, it's just that I've stripped off another layer and I feel vulnerable again. And so here comes those old patterns. And so now I have more different tools to work with now. So that's why it feels raw for me. So,
that is great. Thank you.
And more aware of it, too.
Right, exactly.
Exactly. And it's less tolerable. With so much greater awareness now, it's like, why would I put up with this? But that's why they say we got more juice, but that more juice has to be handled responsibly because I'd had more juice to beat myself up with then, too. And think of like the spiral. Like I said, another layer, so it's like coming in spiral. So, yes, I want to grow into those great and glorious vistas of the future. Well, as the circle gets higher, it also gets deeper.
And it hurts.
Yes. There is where the hurt is buried. There is where the frustration is. That's what I said. The heart chakra now is really critical because that allows us to grow with compassion. Because otherwise, if I just go say the third chakra, okay, we're going to find out we're doing 30 days of breathing all day long. And we're going to dig in there and we're going to get every miserable piece of you out. You know, I just have more ammunition to beat myself up with. You know. So that's where the heart chakra, I think, is the center of balance. That I can go in, I can do this growth now with loving compassion towards myself. And your courage to talk about it and to share it. I think the most powerful tools are often the simplest. You know, okay, now get in a figure eight position and stand on one leg and breathe. You know, it's someone putting their hand on my shoulder, sharing from my heart, taking the next breath, having a loving thought towards myself.
I think that everything has a process. Normally, when we want to change something fast in a moment, and I can see in what I learned to make me suffer, it took years from learning that. And now that I know that, it's going to take me time to change that with something that is not going to, well, what is it?
Yes.
It's like a plant or a tree. It goes little by little.
Right. See, listen to this wisdom in this room here. And you may ask a question and it's like, oh, wow, thank you. But then someone else asks and you've got some wisdom for them. You know, it's the peekaboo game.
I think, too, that the heart, this space is the furthest away from the next one, up or down. So it feels very vulnerable and open, kind of out there on its own. Because of the distance from here to here, it's further away than the first to the second.
It's also the balance point between the upper and lower chakras.
The middle.
You know, 3 above, 3 below.
So the thing is that our judgment can come in here and we forget about our basic right to love and to be loved. Our true identity is the self that witnesses, that holds us in its core of unconditional love. So you may not think that you have the right to be loved unless you behave perfectly. Because we were told that. You know, clean your room, get the dishes done, and you're a good girl. Or that we weigh the right amount. Or that we sacrifice ourselves or perform admirably. We may not think that others deserve our love unless they treat us the way that we expect. I think we should walk around with little placards here. To love me, buy my books, laugh at my jokes. Each of us has little different this is what love is for Jill. Compliment her cooking. Whatever. Ask for seconds. So, your relationship program is that they have to behave in ways that they should in order that I feel loved. So, you may have experienced withdrawal of love or punishment for inappropriate behavior. So now, I do it to others and myself. We talk about, I was treated thus and such a way by my parents. Well, it's like I interject that, and now, when I look closely, I notice I'm treating myself the way I was treated. That's a hard one to look at. Again,
But the truth is, we need to like others to say I love you or to treat us good, doesn't? Because I think knowing that we don't need from others to show their love, it doesn't mean we don't need it sometimes.
of course. And if I define it very narrowly, it's only when you show up at this time and only when you compliment me in this way. There may be so many other ways that I'm being loved that I blow off, that I don't even recognize. And so it's not like I don't care who does what. I just love myself. No, it's not making us an island. In fact, it's opening us up to see that I'm being loved in so many ways. By the trees. No, that doesn't count. It's just a tall, dark, and handsome guy who rides in on a white horse and sings like Roy Rogers.
He was always my favorite cowboy.
I knew he was in here somewhere. Happy trails to you.
But it's the same way what you were talking about. What we learn is what we
do to ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's what you expect of others. Like if you have this idea of love,
right.
Even that that, like me with Jaime, he shows me how much he loves me in everything he does. But still, sometimes I need him to say it, like with words.
Right.
And it's not that I don't see the other big.
Right. And that's part of the dance of love, is that we learn what our partner experiences as love. And sometimes we do them a favor by not doing that so they don't get stuck on it. And sometimes we do them a favor by doing that. Someone was telling me the other day, and I heard this before. There's a book out now, you may know. The author describes, I think, 5 different styles of relationship or sharing love that some people need touching. If you don't touch them, they do not feel cared for. And other people, it's like, get away from me. Some people want gifts. So you bring home the paycheck, so you're faithful, so you know.
When was the last time you thought about me enough to get me a present?
Exactly. Without that, forget it. And there's 5 different types like that. And I thought, that's really curious. It's interesting. It's nice to know that. Here I think I'm doing everything for my partner. Well, I'm doing everything that I consider important. Whether they get it or not, I just keep doing it because I think this is what love is.
Might be what you would like to have done for you.
Usually is. Well, you take it back. I don't need another bracelet. Oh, but dear, it looks so good on you, All right. It's only by releasing judgment and engaging in forgiveness do we create the space the heart requires in order to love deeply and fully. Only by releasing judgment and engaging in forgiveness do we create the space the heart requires to love deeply and fully. So list the conditions that you put on yourself in order to receive love.
You mean like I have to look this way, or I'm not worthy of love until I have X, Y, or Z?
Until I got my homework done, until I got the kitchen clean, until I can look in the mirror or I weigh this amount, or till I stop chewing my fingernails, So, what are your requirements? Yeah, just write a few down. What are your requirements to receive love? Now, secondly, what are your list of conditions that you require of another before you're willing to share your heart, until you're willing to love them. So what do you require of other people? Be forthcoming with your love for them. Write down a couple of those. So just throw it in the pot here. Let's see what we got. So just say out loud at random. We don't raise our hands or anything. Just what are some of the requirements that we have of ourselves to be loved, to receive love? One is to get my work done.
Have a nice house.
Have a nice house.
To do a good job according to someone else.
Do a good job. Good job.
Being kind.
Being kind.
Have a great body.
Have a great body.
Be respectful.
Be respectful. Okay, that's, yeah.
Looking my best.
Looking your best.
Doing everything perfectly.
Oh, doing everything perfectly. Yeah.
Happy with myself.
Happy with yourself. Okay.
Say yes.
Say yes to everything?
Yes.
Wow. Providing for my family and making money.
Who is value?
Do my spiritual and health routines. What are requirements you have of others before you'll love them? So they got to be safe and trustworthy.
You have to be non-judgmental.
Non-judgmental. Yeah, I hate those judgmental people. Those suckers. All right, yeah. You're right. I got be considerate and kind.
Respectful of my boundaries.
Respectful of your boundaries, yeah. Now this really surprised me when this came out, but I thought about it. It's like, be humble. No braggarts.
The other person?
Yeah, they have to
They have to have that.
be humble before I will feel like I really love them.
I have to feel attraction, like the energy.
Ah,
Sometimes I can just feel some energy with some people.
okay.
Because
Some
they have
animal.
to be, loved, but regular people.
Okay, so they can't be repulsed. There's got to be animal magnetism.
Something like that.
Well, sometimes it's just another person's energy.
Yeah,
You pick up on
Mm-hmm.
something that you're feeling uncomfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
Is this exercise, I mean, like, these are requirements. This is not, like, real.
We make it real.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if it's a homeless person, will I give my love to that person just by, by giving them $5 or just by ignoring, what is... So I've kind of got this whole thing happening right now with this exercise, like, what?
What's the point?
Yeah. Because they're requirements that they're not,
It's looking at what we do.
Okay.
It's looking at how we filter this. I mean, if I see that, it's like, wait a minute, what's that about?
Okay.
Someone's got to be humble for me to care about them.
Okay.
You know?
Right. Like the thing about having a great body, like, what does that mean?
Yeah, right. Exactly. So hopefully by seeing that it's paper thin, that it doesn't become this big barrier for us. That's the point.
Yeah. Well, and even to shine some light on the conditions that we place on ourselves and others before we're willing to open our hearts. What things am I putting forth in my mind that keep me from allowing my heart to open?
Right?
I can't be loved because my weight isn't right. What's that about?
A condition that we put on ourselves.
Or I want him to be self-confident, but I'm not.
Right.
I mean, that's on my list. It's like, I want him to be self-confident. It's like, well, I'm not. How can I expect that from somebody else when I don't even have that myself?
Right. Right.
It's like a double standard.
Right. Right. So be approving of me. I'm not going to like anyone that's not approving of me.
I had put down acceptance of me.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Acknowledging.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is good
Yeah.
first.
So make a list of your most significant relationships and conditions you've placed on them. So I narrowed that down. Just take one significant relationship in your life and list 3 conditions that you have placed on this that restrict your mutual growth.
The relationship that we have now,
Doesn't have to be, but a significant relationship in your life. What are 3 restrictions that you put on it that, if you look at it, really has restricted your mutual growth? All right, so just by bringing these things to attention, you have some choice. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to keep it that way. Or, that's silly. What's my fear? And usually, I think you hit a nail on the head, Kathy. And you said it's something that I'm putting on the other that I think I'm lacking in myself. I think there's some shadow element in there about those requirements.
So what's my fear that I make these conditions?
That's right. Okay, so what can you do to move beyond these conditions? What can you do to free yourself from having that limitation? How can you take care of yourself if you let those conditions go? The demon of the heart chakra, it's grief. Grief. Yeah, good grief. The demon of the heart chakra is caused by perceived rejection, betrayal, or loss. So we tend to disintegrate when the heart is hurt. Residual grief keeps us from opening. We are stuck in protecting ourselves. Only grief that is fully experienced and released will open the door of the heart and allow us to love more deeply and completely than before. Repressed grief locks the doors of the heart. Sometimes allowing yourself to deepen your breath and to let crying, sobbing, or even wailing until your grief subsides. Sharing your grief with others. The breath then naturally becomes deeper and fuller. There was a teacher that I had some acquaintance with that I didn't do a lot of work with him, but it was John Paracas, who helped start bioenergetics along with Alexander Lowen. But John Paracas was very psychic and he could see auras very clearly. And then he drew pictures of people and their energy. He was also a medical doctor. And so he drew the configurations of people who had heart disease. And the energy around their hearts was truly, we say it's blocked or I can't open my heart. Well, I mean, quite literally, you could see that. The schmutz that was going on in that area.
Could you give a definition of grief?
The pain that I experience in believing that I'm less because something is missing. I've lost something. I'm lacking. I'm bereft because of something I've lost.
Sadness because of perceived loss.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I put the word perceived in there. If I truly breathe, as suggested here, into that, I can open that up. And yes, grandmother isn't here anymore, and I don't get the triple gooey chocolate chip cookie and milk, that she gave. But I could experience a sense of unconditional love without the cookies and milk if I opened my mind to the possibility of that and didn't just fixate.
Talking about that, Jim, I think that before I came to transformation, for 17 years, my heart was up. And coming here and doing the work, it started opening up. Not that it's all open all the way, but I'm working on it. But,
sure.
Yeah, this all makes sense, what you're saying. When Ron passed, I had lost everything. And so on a daily basis, I was just going through the motions and not really living.
As you say, I can't really put my heart into anything.
Right.
Because it's been too wounded.
And then when my parents died, then I felt like an orphan, and then I'm going through it again.
Right.
That's hard.
Yes, and there's nothing on heaven and earth that can stop that, except me. And if I make the requirement, no, it's not until they're here in the flesh that I'm going to feel good again.
Well, it's almost like I didn't want to feel good again, because I had lost my one true love.
How could I possibly?
Yeah, it had to be my fault.
Well, and then, there's all sorts of mental things that can go into that. It's like you said, it must be my fault, I deserve that, or it would be a betrayal of them to love anyone else.
Or feel good.
Or even to feel good. Yeah.
Think of the widows that used to wear black for at least a year.
Mm-hmm.
Because you couldn't have any happiness or light or joy in your life because it would mean you didn't respect that relationship.
Now, there's another side to that, which is that in our culture, we don't honor grief often. It's like, you get a day off from the funeral, back to work.
And don't cry. Take it easy. Settle down.
Exactly. And what the wearing of the black would do would let other people know, oh, that person deserves some space. That it's okay that they are sad, right? In other words, it gives them cultural permission to experience what they need to experience. Doesn't mean you have to be somber or can't smile or anything. It's just saying, all right, there's been a major loss here. Yeah. Okay. The healing and the balancing of the fourth chakra. So we're working the element here. In the Vastu system, Indian system of Feng Shui, air is called Vayu. It's associated with wind or motion. According to Hindu mythology, air is the breath of the Supreme Being in the home. So make sure that air circulates well. You can have a ceiling fan, cross-ventilating windows. You could move the furniture so the flow of energy doesn't stagnate. Create spaciousness, adding curtains, cushions, carpeting can help soften. Round shapes, colors of the sky, blues, blacks, whites, celestial symbols, moons and stars. To energize love and relationship, you could decorate your house with objects in pairs, male and female statues, matching pairs of lamps, candle holders, end tables, or just have pictures of loved ones, colors that you particularly love. In your own personal atmosphere, air, it speaks of lightness and spaciousness, so opening the breath and lightening up, releasing anger, sadness, guilt, control, worry, and fear, lugubriousness. So embracing joy. On the other hand, if you're too airy, you leave your own ground, and that you can come to an unpleasant crash. So we want to keep roots in the ground, but not stuck in the mud. We want to be able to attend to our daily business, not floating around in the stratosphere. Keep centered in ourself as you open to this fourth chakra. Find the balance between individuality and unity, embracing and honoring both. So what are the practices that will help this? Gratitude is the great attitude. Express gratitude to another. Forgiveness is the essential practice of the heart chakra. It frees the heart, allows us to move forward. It doesn't mean that what someone did was okay. Oh, hit me again so I can have more to forgive. No, it's not about being masochistic. But I realized what the lesson was, and I reclaim my life and stop seeing myself as a victim. It's ultimately not what others are doing to me around forgiveness, but accepting and forgiving myself and moving on. Giving to others is another practice that can open the heart chakra. Engaging our energy and creativity, making a present for someone, or just sitting with another suffering, or just doing an illogical favor for someone. What they're called random acts of kindness. And guess who wins from that? Okay, so let's look at our handout here and do a little evaluation of our fourth chakra. Excesses and deficiencies. Excessive characteristics in fourth chakra include codependency, focusing too much on others, poor boundaries, jealousy, being a martyr, being a pleaser. Deficient characteristics involve antisocial behavior, withdrawal, criticism, intolerance, lonely, isolated, lack of empathy, fear of intimacy. Balanced characteristics include caring, compassionate, empathetic, accepting, self-loving, peaceful, centered, content. So look at your assessment list now and fill in the first three areas: the strengths that you see yourself as having in this chakra, the weaknesses, and what are your goals? What are your goals for the fourth chakra. So let's do this together right now. Get your handout again. We're going to complete our work with the fourth chakra by completing the last two sections of our fourth chakra assessment. The last two sections of our fourth chakra assessment, which are going to include what tools that we want to use during this next month and what we commit ourselves to. What is our commitment? What do we say that we are going to do in working with our fourth chakra during this next month? So let's do that together. Aho.
Aho.
I hold you in my heart this month. Every time I'm doing my dancing, my exercise, everything that we've committed to, you are there with me. Blessings to us all.